Hello, I guess we're live now. Lily Homestead is here. Thank you for joining me. I would assume everybody's had all their Thanksgiving dinners that they're going to have. My wife kind of got on to me last week because I'm not real big on niceties. I was just straight and to the point. Started here. All righty. Oh, we've been a little under the weather the past few days. George is sitting over there nursing a hot tea, and I got me a glass of hot tea tonight, and I hope I got enough light. Then we're reflecting it off of the mirror there. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to get in here. I had the chills last night. I hadn't really been doing a whole lot today. I was wore out. I'm shaking all night long. Couldn't get warm. You have to excuse me. I may be snorting and coughing and God knows what. I got this green tea with honey in it. Oh, man. Did everybody hear me all right? I don't know if everybody can hear me or not. Again, Lily Homestead. Can you hear me all right? Is everything going? It's not buffering, is it? On 4G here. If ain't nobody shows up, they can catch it on the replay. So, we're heading into the Christmas season here. We got just a few days, really, to get everything for Christmas, get all the supplies for the festivities. Keep my hand up here, maybe you guys can see my face. Gonna be in the middle of the weekend this year. I'll be on the week. Christmas Eve on a Tuesday. Oh, everybody gets paid by the week or every other week. They're gonna get the check after, before. I like it when Christmas shows up on the 25th. It looks like ain't too many folks showing up, but we're gonna talk about. You guys catch it on the replay. We're gonna talk about homestead essentials, the essentials to starting a homestead, and I'm gonna kind of give my story of how we've done it so far, and kind of give a tool. I got a blackboard up here that it helps keep us motivated. I'm gonna tell you kind of what our story was. We were living on 2 acres in Tennessee, in East Tennessee, and we were already doing all the things. I mean, we were raising chickens, raising gardens, raising hogs. We've always had horses, and we were getting the most we could out of those 2 little bitty acres. And the only problem was it had a 30-year mortgage. I would have been 70 before I paid it off if I'd have stayed with the 30-year mortgage. The problem was I felt like, and I've said this before, I felt like I was just claustrophobic because I had a neighbor literally 25, 30 feet one direction, and I had a neighbor about 300 feet the other direction, and you could hear everything all the time, sirens and all that stuff. And with the stress of our job, with the stress of our business, the things that we did, we started looking at off-grid homesteads. I mean, we were paying $400 a month for just electric and phone service. And these cooperatives, you're kind of tied in. You don't have a whole lot of options. And that was before, literally, guys, in the past 2 years, my life has revolutionized because that was before I knew anything about cell phones and doing this stuff online. Ellen says, I too am just starting my homestead. Maybe she'll come on over here. I don't know. Can you guys still see me? Maybe she'll come on over to the live stream there. So what we had in mind when we started, just to give you a little bit of backstory on our essential planning, and that's what I'm going to talk about with this this dry erase board. We had the idea that, hey, we're going to go and we're going to move from here where we were at in Tennessee, and we're going to move all the way across the country, and we're going to start homesteading right away. The problem with that logistically was that it wasn't economically feasible, and it wasn't time feasible. When you go without making a paycheck for a while, and we did that here last month when I got hurt. When you go without making a paycheck for a while, the more you don't have income coming in, and the more you spend, the more stress you have. So you're trying to rush around. And when we started laying out the budget, that's one of the very first things we did. We started laying out the budget. Okay, this is how much we're going to have to end up when we land. And that was talking about taking an RV out there, taking a trailer out there. We were talking about pulling the trailer out to the property and setting up, hauling water and all that. And we had a piece of property all lined up. All we had to do was complete the paperwork on it, and we were gonna go. Well, when we got to looking at it, the budget just we couldn't come up with that much budget to do the move all in one step. And we waited around. Good evening, High Desert Homestead, and all in the chat tonight. Good evening, RG. Appreciate you being here. Lily Homestead, hello. So we had to take and scale back our plan, and we couldn't. There's a lot of things we could have done, but we couldn't just move from where we was at straight to the homestead and actually make the transition and have enough budget to do that. Logistically, with everything, it just wouldn't work. So we actually moved from the 2 acres there in East Tennessee, went further east and worked for a company there. Many of you know who they are. They're Cowboy. Awesome product. Love them. I won't use anything else when it comes to building perimeter fence and sometimes pins. But my daughter's coming in from feeding horses. She don't want to field halfway deep. So we had to move over there, and we saved as much money as we could, and we got to the point to where we had enough money and enough budget, or so we thought, to in the yard, in the house. Good day from Australia. Hey, buddy. It never works out. RG says it never works out like we would like, but it just takes time to get it done. Been there and done that. Yeah, we have these high expectations, but we had enough money saved up to make the move across the country, and we set it up in advance. We stayed at some of Polly's family. They have a church on the reservation, and they have buildings and they have stuff there, and they have pens, corrals, all that. We've been back and forth there a lot. So we took and we went there first. That trip didn't go like it should. We started out, we bought a Dodge Durango. Me and George, my son, we rebuilt the transmission. We put about $2,000 into it. God, it's going to be great. It's 4-wheel drive. It'll do anything we want to do. And when we got to Arkansas, it died. And we ended up selling it for scrap. We got, after buying it, which was about, I think we had about $1,200 in it, rebuilding the transmission. That's one reason we got it. And taking and rebuilt the transmission, we had about $2,500 in it, maybe even more. Sold it for $500. So right there, we were down almost $2,000 just on that little deal alone. We were pulling a horse trailer and an RV, or not an RV, a U-Haul truck. We had all of our stuff crammed into a 26-foot U-Haul truck. There was 4 of us in the front of a U-Haul truck. Now, if anybody has been inside of a U-Haul truck, they know it's not very comfortable. There was 4 of us plus a dog. Our dog was in the front with us. So we left that there and we came on and went out to Arizona. That budget that we had got us there. And we had our horses and we had our horse trailer and we had all of our stuff. And we had brought a bunch of stuff that we thought we might need. RG says, in the yard, Homestead, good evening. Guys, talk amongst yourselves. Excuse me. But anyway, it got us to that point, and we ended up selling our horse trailer, buying us a truck. And if you guys go back and watch all of our videos, you kind of catch up on that. But I just wanted to take and talk about logistics. You have to have a budget. You have to have a running budget. And on this board here, pull it over here, you guys can see it. This is our running budget. I don't have the numbers in there because I didn't think it was prevalent. This is our running budget. This is our bills every month. We got a car, phone, land, electric, insurance, other bills. We have some hospital bills, some doctor's bills, first one thing, another. Food and gas. And food entails, seems like your back is doing better. Yeah, it was my knee that was messed up, but my back feels pretty good too. I don't cough too much. Food includes dog feed and horse feed and all that stuff. So that's our running budget. My son's over there choking. You guys get real life here. This is our run budget. This is our goal budget. This is what we take and we're working towards. And they're not in any particular order really. Our first one is we have to do a driveway. And once we get a driveway in, we got to get more water tanks. We do have one water tank already. And then we've got one camper, and that's what these little lines are here to a 1. If y'all can see that or not. So these are some things that we put money towards as funds become available. Because we hang this up, it's hung up over here in the kitchen, and it helps us, follow our progress, and it helps keep us motivated. We make decisions based on, like I put out in the last video about this little portable garage. We make those decisions that help promote these goals over here. These are a given. This side over here is a given. Solar, water, waste, RJ, and building. It all takes money. Off-grid farming with Paul and Adrian. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, everything takes money. This old budget over here is a given. You're going to have this regardless. And there's some months, this is all we get done, especially here lately. We had some money left over, and that's how we bought that little portable garage. So when you're planning, particularly to people who are starting their homestead, you got to have your budget. The very first thing, if you're going to do anything logistically, is you've got to have an operating budget. If you don't have an operating budget, you don't know where money's going. So this over here allows us to track our progress on what we have and still what we want. We've got a solar kit. We've got a camper. We've got a camper down on the homestead. We've got water tanks. So planning, if you're planning on moving all the way across the country like we did, we went to that step. Sometimes you may have to change jobs. You may have to change where you work. Particularly if you're, like we were, 1,800 miles from where we wanted to be. We had to take and come up with it. We flea marketed all year. I trained horses, and this was in 2018. That's when we got out there. So that whole summer, before I got a job, we flea marketed. We had enough stuff that we brought with us to flea market, and then I trained horses and did a few odd jobs here and there, trimmed some horses, that sort of thing. We didn't have any expenses because we were staying at the church and helping at the church and that sort of thing. So we took and built up a little bit of a nest egg. Then for the winter, where we were staying at really wasn't winterized. We have outhouses there, outdoor showers, so we had to have a place for the winter. And we moved into closer to town, and we had to find a place to put our horses. About a year after we moved out here, while we were living at this other place, the property that we bought come up for sale at a reasonable price, reasonable terms, and we jumped on it and bought it. So it was a year after we had moved to Arizona that we actually bought property. So what I'm trying to tell you is, don't get discouraged if you're trying to take and you're trying to move to a homestead. And it doesn't really matter if you're, right there close to it. We were 1,800 miles away when we moved, but we made that step, and we had to change our what most people call normal. We had to make decisions that weren't exactly normal. If you're going to make this thing work, it's unconventional. And you've got to think outside the box. You can't think, okay, I'm going to go get a 30-year mortgage or 15-year mortgage. I'm going to do this, and this. You have got to think outside the box. So working a job over there, the job I was working, it got to where we hardly had any jobs. I was working kind of subcontracting. So I got to where I wasn't having any jobs. And it wasn't economically feasible for us to stay there. It was a great place, and the people were awesome, but it wasn't economically feasible. So we moved to this. And the reason that we downsized, and this sounds crazy, we went from a house with pasture for our horses to an RV to a fifth wheel. All of us living, 4 of us living in a 30-foot fifth wheel camper. But we still had a place for our horses. The reason that we had to make that change, and I credit God, because God kind of put it in our way. He opened the doors for us because we weren't able to just go find another place, another house like that, at a cheaper price. And when we look at our budget, continuing to pay that rent and progress these goals over here on our homestead, it wasn't in the budget. We were at a stalemate. We couldn't take and move forward. So, gotta get something off the screen. RG says, we got lucky when we purchased our land with a house on and some solar, but didn't need a lot of work to make it livable. Yeah, that's a really good deal if you can take and make that work. Most people out there are not going to be able. I can take and go out into the middle of the woods, and I can start chopping down trees, and I can make a house that's going to be livable. Most people can't do that. And I'm not saying nothing bad about them. Everybody's got their strengths and their weaknesses, but not everybody can do that. Remodeling, in my opinion, and Paul, you can chime in. Remodeling is twice as bad as building something from scratch. You can build something from scratch pretty easy, but remodeling is twice as hard. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people have to have somebody do it, or they have to learn as they go. And that's the other thing. You have to have a learning curve when you are going to go off grid. The difference, and we had lived off grid 20 years ago, but the difference between living on 2 acres, even though we had hogs, we had chickens, we had a garden, we had all to living off grid is a big step. And for somebody who's never done it before, not only is there, and I'm talking about logistics, I'm talking about the essentials here. You got to have a mindset when you start putting this out that, okay, I've got to do things different. I've got to accept things that I wouldn't normally accept. I've got to take and make moves that to everybody else they probably wouldn't think you're sane. Are you in the yard leaving? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I appreciate it. So when you're talking about a budget, you've got to have a moving budget, you've got to have a landing budget, and you've got to have a moving budget. You guys are going to have to excuse me. I've been sick all night. You're going to have a moving budget, a landing budget, and an operating budget. And if you don't have a job lined up when you get there, if you don't have that money in place, it's going to be really hard, and the failure rate's going to be a lot higher. Cutting down on expenses, we've got it down to these things right here, and these are everyday expenses. These are month by month expenses. Car, phone. I wish we could get rid of this one, but this is how we do all of our internet. The land, we got it on terms. It's fairly inexpensive. The electric, we have to pay electric here. We do labor in return for the camper and the space. Insurance, everybody's got to pay insurance. Other bills, we've got a few other bills. Food and gas. Though we've got all of our bills closed down to just these. We don't have a lot of extra stuff. And right now I'm working, or was working. Be going back to work here pretty soon. My daughter's working and my son's working, and we're all working together to take all these things in. And the mindset of a lot of people is, I'm going to do this, and my kids won't have to do anything, or my wife won't have to do anything. And the essentials are, everybody's going to have to take and pick it up. Everybody's going to have to pick up the slack. It's not going to be just one person. My wife makes jewelry. She's at a jewelry show today. She's selling jewelry. She makes beaded necklaces, beaded earrings. All of that we contribute to this. Any extra money, lump sums, we go to this side and we put it back. So when you're gonna move to a homestead, budgeting every little thing, and then you're gonna have things come up. RG Homestead, and you have to have a budget to cover the slow times to get it done. Yeah, and I'm sure Paul can attest this. I was self-employed for years, and if we didn't have that cushion for when it got slow and I wasn't taking and making anything, I've worked for myself for years and years and years, working a job that's kind of foreign to me, going in, working 9 to 5 or whatever, 8 hours a day. I worked all the time. Me and my wife worked all the time. My wife and kids worked as hard as I did at our business. But if you don't have that cushion there, when things get tight, then you're going to be in trouble, and you're either going to be forced to go borrow money, which is going to take away from this, and it's going to show up over on this side, and you're going to have another bill there, and the more you have over here, the less you're going to have to put in over here. And when you're thinking about moving to a new location, moving to housing stuff, you've got to do things that's outside the box, like living in a camp, living in an RV park, living in a garage, apartment above a garage, something like that. You've got to think about those things. There's a lot of people out there who want to do stuff. RG says, I would love to get your wife's jewelry. Let me know. We actually have a Equid store. It's on some of our videos. In the description, you just go down to the description, and there's an Equid link there, and you can take and see what she's got on there. Happy Preppers in the house. Hi. Saying hi. Good to have you here. So we're talking about planning. and logistics. One of the things that we had to do before we left, just to break down some little simple logistics for you, we had to have a horse trailer to get our horses here. Now I'm real good at fixing things up. I can take and I can weld and I can do all that. And we bought a trailer. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all the particulars. We bought a trailer for $900. It had brand new tires on it, and it needed some work. It needed painting. It needed a few things. It needed the lights worked on. First one thing another. Part of our logistics was taking our horses with us, because we've had these horses for years and years. People say, what you need to do is you need to sell your horses. I tell them, why don't you just go sell your dog or sell your cat? No, we're not just going to up and sell our horses. If we sell our horses, it's to make a really big move. Okay, it's to make a really huge move. And sometimes we might have to, but I pray to God we don't. We've had them for years and years, ever since the kids were little bitty. We've had Anna's little horse, Cowboy, since she was 6 when she got him. So she's 20 now. He's 14, 15 years old now. So we've had him around 14 years. So that was part of our logistics. So if you're going to bring anything that's hard, you got to think about where you're going to land. It was easy for us, the landing part, because we were moving to the reservation and they had pens and corrals. We had to work on them, but we had a place to land. If you're moving to a place that is, not acceptable to have animals and stuff, then you got to take that into account. I would have loved to have sold just everything and had nothing and went out there and lived in a tent, but my wife didn't really want to. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Any other comments about planning and logistics? And this is the first of many. I'm going to be talking about the essentials after you land. We're going to be talking about the bare essential tools. I'll probably do some videos next week and the week after on just the bare essential tools you're going to need when you land at a homestead. And just moving forward, looking at several different scenarios. We talked about in the first live stream, we talked about having a good vehicle. Part of logistics is, we ended up, we lost $2,000 on a vehicle that, and I'm a pretty good mechanic, but I couldn't fix it on the road. And there again, we was burning up our moving budget. That's all. That's all right. You ain't missed much. Just me rattling on. Blissful Acres. I'm a pretty good mechanic, but I was in the middle of Arkansas and I was burning up my moving budget. We stayed there a whole night, and where we were stuck at, we had horses on the trailer. It rained like crazy, and we couldn't fix the Durango. I'll never buy another Durango. It burnt me on it. They may be good vehicles. I'll never buy another. But it was burning up my budget because we were sitting still. Pollination said, we've seen people move out to property and try to live in their car with no water, heat, or lights. My neighbor moved to his property. He put down money on his property, and his property borders mine on the south. He moved out there and spent the first winter in a van. And I'm not talking about no nice conversion. I'm talking about just a van, just an old panel van. RG says, if I remember you in northern Arizona like me, it will happen soon. Things just keep working on it. Yeah, we're working. And one of the things I want to do about talking about the essentials and talking about budgeting, I want people to understand that if you take your time and you do it right, you'll succeed. If you have a plan, if you budget and you do it step by step, then you will make it. You will succeed. But if you're just rush out there and think it's just all gonna come easy, it's not. It is a harsh land. The winters are cold, the summers are hot, and nothing's close together. We covered that in our first in our first episode. And moving out there in a car, they've done it for 3 years, and they went from a van. My neighbor who moved out there, he was in a van. Then he moved into a camper, and now he's got a big trailer out there and a storage shed, and he's growing food. He's growing vegetables, and he's got chickens, and he hauls water, you know, in his pickup. He's got an old Ford pickup, and he made that, but he was dedicated to the idea to do that. You know, you can heat up a van with a little old heater, with a little little old space heater, little old Mr. Buddy. And they did, him and his wife. They moved from Phoenix up there to the property and lived in a van. So he made that decision, and that's the thing that you got to do if you're going to go do this. You got to make decisions. I will do this, but I won't do this. And when you're talking about with your wife and your kids, you have to see what they can do and what they can't do. If you're planning on doing something like my neighbor did, you better go try to spend some time in the woods and they can camp out for a little while and see what they can take. After 10 days of no running water, no electricity, and skeeters and whatever else in the summer, and cold during the winter and being wet, you'll find out real quick what they can do. I knew what my family could do, and I knew what my wife would accept and what she wouldn't accept. So I know what the standard of living that she expects and that she wants. RG Homestead says, we started in a tent trailer to a house, now a room to move around in. Yeah. It's rough in this little camper. There's 4 of us in here, and it's about a 30-foot, I guess, maybe 28-foot camper, and there's 4 of us in here. It's small, it's little. Those kind of things you need to try out, and you need to see what you can put up and what you can't put up with if you've never lived that. We lived on a bus one time for a year, so we knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. We knew how we could put up with each other, and there's times we get on each other's nerves. There's no doubt about it. I tell people we are physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. We're 4-dimensional beings. So you get affected on all those. Physically, what you can put up with and what you can't put up with. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, when it gets draining. And this right here is one of the things that helps me mentally. Is I get up every morning and I look at this and I see where we're at. And when I see these wins, this one through it and that slash through it, that's a mental win for me. I go, okay, I got that. I got that camper down there. Yeah, that's a win. Water tank. Yeah, I got that water tank, and it's a mental win for me. So it's essential if you can sit down, because emotionally we tend to get frustrated, we tend to get sad, we tend to get all tore up about things when things don't go our way. I mean, we were broke down in Arkansas. My wife and kids were sleeping in the Durango. I was in the front of the U-Haul truck with a dog, and it was pouring down the rain, and our horses were standing on fire. I got emotionally tore up. But having our budget and having our plan and go, well, it's just 3 days out there. We got this, and this. That calmed my mind. If I didn't have a budget and I didn't know exactly where I stood financially, as part of the physical, if I didn't have that, then it would have affected me worse. But I knew, because of how much it had cost us, I knew how much it was going to cost us, and I knew how much we had in the budget. So if anybody tells you that a budget is not also mental and emotional, they're trying to fool themselves. Because if you know where every dollar is going, and you know you have that safety net, and you know it's there, then mentally and emotionally you are a whole lot better off. That's why this is essential before you ever start. RG Homestead says it's like living on a boat, which we had done, and moved to our property. It's a challenge for all. It will work out. Keep the faith and drive on. That's right. That's what I'm here about. I want to encourage people that are starting out. I want to encourage people and give them some things that's going to benefit them and get their plan started and get everything started. Um, a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people I've heard, they've sold their house, they have equity, and they move out. Don't get in a hurry to go purchase land. I had researched our land online for a long time, and when it came available to me, and just because it's available doesn't mean it's available to me. It was available all the time, but to fit inside of my budget and to fit inside of my plan, it had to be, the terms had to be right and the price had to be right. When it came up, I jumped on it. I had already done that. But if you've never been in the country and you don't know anything about it, like Paul and Adrian was talking about, they moved to 40 acres in Witch Wales, and they were way out there in the middle of nowhere. If you've never been to that area and you don't know what's there, move to a place near there. Like we could move, I could get a job, we could move to Gallup. Well, the only reason, because Gallup's not that far, it's about an hour and a half from my homestead. It put us an hour and a half closer. But Polly's family's here. So I'm trying to take and balance that out. We're talking about that mental and emotional concept there. She's enjoying her time. We lived in Tennessee for 20 years, and she'd come out and visit once a year. So she's enjoying her time with her family while we're building on the homestead. That's something that we have planned emotionally and mentally for her, because that's what she wants to do, and I'm fine with that. She hadn't had a whole lot of time with her sisters and stuff like that, so that's part of the plan. It puts us farther away, but when you weigh it out, you've got to weigh out mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You've got to weigh those things out. You don't want to make a bad decision that's going to. It may be financially better when you're writing out your plan, but it may not be emotionally better. And you've got to take all those things into account when there's more than one person doing the move. There's more than one person going to go live off the grid. You've got to balance those things out. We decided, hey, this is how far we're going to live away, because she's closer to her family and she can take and enjoy her family. And the kids enjoy their cousins and that sort of thing. And I enjoy being around her sisters and her brother-in-laws and her brother. They're all good people. So we go to a lot of family functions with them and personal things, and it's good. So that was a decision that we made that helped us balance it out. So, and I said I didn't have these in any particular order. The very first thing that we've got to do, and I've talked about this before, we got to have a driveway. So every extra dollar, and I know how much it's going to cost. I can put the driveway in. I can take and drive a track hoe and put the driveway in. We've got a pretty long driveway. That's where most of our money is going. Now, if we come upon another water tank, if I was in Tennessee, I wouldn't be buying water tanks and trying to haul water tanks all across the country. I'd be having that money put back. But if I got money in my driveway fund and I come upon a water tank that is a good price, I'm gonna buy that water tank. That's gonna put my driveway on hold, but later down the road, it's gonna help me, because water tanks, and I'm not talking about going out and buying a brand new one. I'm talking about buying one at a lesser price on a deal. And I've heard a lot of people talk about side hustles and making money. That is a really good thing. If you've got an extra trade, if you can work a job and then you've got extra trade, I can plumb, I can do electrical, I can do building, I can trim horses, I can train horses. All of those things go over here. All the extras go over here. We try to have this budget, our everyday budget, we try to have it across the board. We know we're going to spend that money. Every extra dollar goes over here. So this one here is kind of floating. It never really, okay, we're just going to put money into our driveway fund. If we put money, it's one fund and it's right here. And if we come across something that we think is good, just for instance, our cab over camper that we took down to our property, we were putting money towards our driveway and our septic. We had some money there. and we bought this camper. It was $100. We bought it, and it turned out to be a really good camper. So things like that, it gives you a leg up if you can buy them at a deal. So always be open to deals. A lot of people have this idea, I got to go buy this new or that new, or I've got to go buy it off the shelf. When you can find something that's really decent, that's really good, you can go ahead and buy it. I have had some bad experiences. We bought a Makita chainsaw, and that Makita chainsaw, what city are you in? Right now we are near Farmington, New Mexico, where we're near. Farmington, New Mexico. We bought that Makita chainsaw. Thought it was a good deal. Bought it for $50. The guy said it ran, and I got it running, but it wouldn't stay running. And I took it to a repair place, and they said that they don't even make the carburetor for it. So we lost out $50. I just let the guy have it. I said, "Here, you have it." So every once in a while, I miss the mark, but most of the time we take and we do real good. Yesterday, the day before, we were at a junk store. We just stopped in. Polly said she wanted to stop in a junk store. She was looking for some garland, and went in, and in a tub in the back there was a bunch of walking sticks and broom handles, whatever. And I pulled out a tractor drawbar. Tractor Supply, they're $39.95. You can find them online for $25 if you want to pay the shipping on them. But anyway, it was $5. I bought it. I said, that right there, I can resell that. Threw it on Facebook Marketplace, sold it the very next day. Made a little bit of money on it. Those types of things, if you can do, if you know there's a market, those are things that go over here. They take and they go over here. And Desert Dog says, thank you, I enjoyed it. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate everybody stopping by. We've had 9, we got 8 now, and 7 thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Appreciate y'all stopping by. If you guys have any logistic stories or budget stories you guys want to take and throw in there, things that might be helpful for people, that's what we're about. Thank you for doing the thumbs up. I don't know who did that, but appreciate that. If you guys have anything like that, chime in. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to go. Like I said, I was sick last night, and appreciate you guys. If you have any prayers for me, I appreciate them. I was sick. My son's still over there. He's not feeling too good, and Anna's been sick. Polly's the only one of us that's not sick. So these are things that you have to take into account. Sometimes you just have to pump the brakes and say, okay, I'm going to get better, and not take and do a whole lot. So we just been kicked back today, and I had a little old job to do down here, and I just couldn't get to it. I was asleep all day. I had a little shower I had to take and put a new faucet head on, and first one thing and another. I just couldn't get to it. So I do a bunch of these little old things to help out this side of our budget. Where you live at there in East Tennessee, Desert Dog? Nicole's in the house. Thank you. Guys, I have to excuse me. My head's running. So this is the first step. This our budget and planning, and don't think that anything is too small to put in to your plan. We did things in steps. We moved from Tennessee to here. That was our first step, and then we just kind of survived. We just kind of lived, and we had little trials and little tribulations and wins and victories, and then we went from the next place to the next place, Knoxville. Yeah, Nicole says elderberry syrup's good to boost your immune system. We've been taking all kinds of stuff. We've been taking all kinds of stuff. RG says, don't feel bad. We all have been there and done that. It's that time of year. Yeah, I feel better than I did last night. Boy, I was in bad shape. I called my mom. I'm still a mama's boy at heart. I called my mom and I had her pray for me, and my wife was praying for me. I was feeling really rough. budget. Blissful Acres says living off grid takes money up front. Yes, it does. And anything does. When you look at, how small you want to go, it doesn't matter how small you want to go. You can go to Harbor Freight and you can buy a solar panel kit. You're still going to have to buy a battery. They're about $189. I think I got a coupon right now for one for $149. And the only reason I ain't went and bought more of them is because when I have storms somewhere, and that's something I just am not. We don't have a lot of space. I bought that little. You guys probably seen it on the video. We bought that little portable garage, and it's full. I mean, it's stacked up. Stuff's falling over. We got to get in there and organize all that. But I haven't bought one. About 100. But the solar panels are $149. And then you have to buy a battery you can buy batteries anywhere from $49 to $150. But just that little bit, that 100-watt panel they sell at Harbor Freight's not going to take and power. It'll power your electronics. It'll power some lights, but it's not going to power a whole lot. You're going to have a generator if you're moving off grid. We've got an 8,000-watt generator. It's a construction grade generator. You can run anything you want to off of it. Run saws, chop saws. You can run anything you want to off of it. It'll run this camper. So you're going to have that. We bought that at a yard sale. Desert Dog says, I'm moving to Marfa, Texas next month. Are you moving to a homestead there, Desert Dog, or are you just changing scenery? I'm not sure where Martha's at. I've got friends in Comanche, and I've got a brother north of Dallas. So he used to live in Tyler. Not sure where that's at. But we ran across. Desert Dog, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by. We bought this generator. Yes, a homestead. Awesome. Keep us up to date on that, Desert Dog. Let us take and make sure you document it and keep up with us. We'd really like to take and keep up with everybody's progress. That's for sure. We bought this generator, make what I was saying, at a yard sale for $200. The guy was moving out of the state. He was in construction and everything he had there, and I said, does it work? So we got out some power tools and stuff and fired it up. It didn't have that many irons on it, so I went ahead and I bought it. And it's a really good generator. You can run across deals like that if you have this budget over here. If you have this budget running over here and you've got money sitting there for a driveway, the driveway is going to cost me about $1,000. Me doing the work. So I got money sitting there piling up for that driveway, wanting to get started on it. And then a $200 generator comes along. I'm buying that $200 generator because I know I'm going to need it. That's essential. You've got to have some leeway in your budget. You can't be so purpose-minded, so goal-minded that you lose sight of stuff. No, we're going to do the driveway first, and then we're going to do the septic. If I've got money sitting there for a driveway and I run across a deal, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So I'm about 48 minutes now, guys. I hope this kind of helped y'all. The essentials of homesteading. The first is plan. I tell people plan some more. Budget. You got to know where your money's going. Blissful Homestead. Invest in a generator. Mostly used now to pump water on cloudy days. Everybody that I've talked to, everybody that has solar, and I watch here lately, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos because I've been laid up and can't get out. Everybody has a backup generator because their batteries go dead. I follow Red Poppy Ranch. I don't mind telling y'all who and all I follow. I follow Red Poppy Ranch, and they had a whole week where it was snowing and cloudy, and they didn't have any power. So a generator is very, very helpful as we go through this series here of talking about the essentials. This is the first step. Plan and budget. Plan, 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 plan. And you might have to do it in steps. So I think I'm going to get off here. I'm feeling pretty rough. Sorry, guys, if I rambled on. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Probably going to continue to do these around 5 or 6. I'll put stuff on Facebook. I'll put it on there. Next week, we're going to be talking about some of the essential tools, and then I'll probably do a video on it too. Probably going to start with hand tools and then go up. And I'm going to be talking, I'll probably be going in some different stores and showing you guys some things and getting out there and really looking at some products. We're going to be buying a few more products here by the end of the month. We've got a few things that we really need to buy. So I appreciate y'all stopping by. Make sure that you head on over to Paul and Adrian's. I believe they're going to go live tonight. And I believe plant-based homestead preppers. Thank you, Blissful Home Acres. I'm already feeling better, but I'm tired. I'm like to go to bed. Hope everyone has a great Sunday. Thank you guys for stopping by, Paul, Adrian. I'll be over at your live chat probably, laying in bed, coughing. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Plan, 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 and plan some more. Do it in stages if you got to. Don't rush out. Don't rush out and buy something that may not have any resources, may not have any nearby ways to make money. If you don't have income sources, and if you're not rich, you move out where you got to drive 2 hours to work and 2 hours back, you're not ever going to have time to enjoy your homestead. Those types of things, plan, logistics, and get a budget. So I want to thank y'all for stopping by. God bless you all. Hope I didn't ramble too much. And we'll see you down the road.